Hi, Dr. Roberts.
Hi.
The university campus is aware that you teach gender and Hispanic culture in terms of teaching gender and Hispanic literature to students. Even though you may not be actively involved as others in actual public displays of activism and so on, teaching definitely stands as a form of activism and transgresses outside of the classroom as well. So you could just give us a little bit of background in terms of your experiences teaching gender and Hispanic literature, experiences of the students, comments, responses, and your personal views of being involved with IGDS.
Yeah, I teach a course that's called Women in Hispanic Literature. I think that, I would say that I agree with an adage that my grandmother used to use, which was that shape a mind and you shape a life. And I really agree with that because I think in my teaching, we deal with a lot of themes that the students haven't encountered, or they have and have not been forced to think through these themes. So I quite like the courses that I teach. I work with a large number of students, and the students sometimes give varied reactions or varied comments to the themes that we look at. Sexuality, of course, being a really big one. One factor that's very real is that we have, I would say, something like 2% or 3% male population, which is really very low. But it means that the 2 or 3 guys in a class of 30 get picked on a lot. No, I'm just kidding, they don't. But they do engage a lot, and I'm quite surprised sometimes that the men are more willing to engage a lot of the themes. Violence, for example, is one, and race, identity, and sort of a lot of intersections. That class also comes up depending on the novels or the stories that we may be reading, and sometimes, of course, poetry, so which is very emotional. So I think that we engage a lot of themes, and that's interesting. And oftentimes a lot of the theory that I try to interject in the class, well, aside from, of course, feminist theory and specifically third wave feminism, the students sort of say, well, we never thought about it in that way. And one of the things I make them do is write a lot of reflections, because you may think something today and you may have an encounter next week or you may see a billboard or see something on the television or whatever that forces you to rethink a pre-existing idea or things like that. So they write a lot of weekly reflections that I can actually, in the span of a 13-week semester, see how the thinking has been slightly changed or even radically changed and differently shaped.
Nice, very good. A lot of lecturers actually do have this problem, so to say, where there are a lot less men in these classes, a lot less males than females. What ways do you think IGDS and the university as a whole can actually go about promoting gender in a more public way to get more men involved in these classes and courses?
Well, I think it's actually something that is starting. I think it's a contemporary wave that I'm not sure that we're going to have much control over. I'm seeing a lot more multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary choices by students. A couple of years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I had some students that approached me wanting to do Spanish with visual arts, and I remember thinking and saying to them, actually, unfortunately, what are you going to do with that? And one is now working as a graphic artist, one is now working as an artist, actually, and living off of the work with his art. And it's really a lot of interactive art that he's doing. So I think the more that they are out there, or the more that they go out there, whether it's Spanish and history or Spanish and gender or whatever combinations, that the university will certainly, and society will certainly benefit.
Very nice. Thank you for